we're going to go ahead and start. My name is Tara Mays from the Boys and Girls Clubs of Western Pennsylvania, and I'm going to be showing you, I'm starting a series called Cultural Cooking with You. I've already made some on-demand videos about this subject, but I also am going to start making these live presentations, tutorials, demonstrations, whatever you call them. But it's going to be fun. It's going to be fast-paced, 45 minutes. So hopefully you can pick up on what I'm saying, and I'll try to speak loud and clear. And please, if there's any place for you to comment or give me feedback if you need to, please do. All right, so we're going to start with our filling. We're going to make Korean Mandu, which is Korean dumplings, and we're going to make it in soup. Right now I have my double divided hot pot heating water up right now. That takes the longest amount of time, and we always end up waiting, so I thought I'd just go ahead and start that. In this hot water, I'm going to add some chicken stock. This usually comes in a much smaller container, but they didn't have the small containers, so we're going to go with the large one. It'll be fine. Need my tablespoons. This is already starting to boil, so that's good. It says 1 nice tablespoon per cup, so we're going to add 1. There's probably at least 3 cups on each side. 2. And now this is a double hot pot, so you can do vegetarian dishes on one side, meat dishes on the other, seafood dishes on one side, not seafood dishes on the other. It's for any reason that you might need to have a division. I'm going to put 4 scoops on each side. And then you can measure to taste. You can change that to the taste that you like. This is a very good brand of bouillon or seasoning. This Knorr brand. There's no MSG. It's just, I like it. It's very clean. Okay. So I'm going to lower the heat on that while we go ahead and start the other. Good. I'm going to lower that all the way down for a minute. All right. So in our pot for our filling, if you see me glancing off to the right, I'm just making sure that I'm not taking too much time. Okay. This is a pork and beef mixture. You can just use all beef if you like, or all pork, whatever you want to put in there. I do a vegetarian type 2 where I use beans. Okay, I'm going to add 1 egg. I'm going to add 2 eggs. Now normally what you want to do is you can do this over a bowl if you think that your eggs there might be a possibility of your eggs being bad. So you don't want to add a bad egg to the rest of the ingredients because that could ruin everything. So the meat and the eggs are there. We're going to chop up some garlic. Do this really, really fast. So for this one, I'm going to put 4 pieces of garlic. This is the really nice big garlic bulb that I buy at the Asian market. Now we're going to make 4 garlic cloves and chop them up. So what you're going to do is you take your knife, hold it firmly, okay, like this, and you're going to flatten, boom, pound it, each one, piece of garlic. And the reason we do that is so that it releases the oils of the garlic, but it also releases the garlic from their skins really fast. So instead of fiddling around, I know there's 5 million ways to open up a piece of garlic, but this is the way that works best for me. So find your own way. Okay, good. The skin's all coming out. Good. There we go. There we go. Okay. All that skin and paper membrane goes right into the garbage. Okay. Take your knife again, hold it firmly like this. fingers all the way around. Not like this. This is bad form because you lose control of your knife because you're losing one finger for strength. So you want total control of that knife blade. We're going to go here. I'm going to mill it. I'm going to put one hand here on the end and the other hand's on the knife blade. They're just going to go chop, 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 chop. Oops, I found a bad spot. Get rid of the bad spot. Easy peasy. Chop, 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 chop. We want a nice little mince. We don't want it too big because this is going to be mixed in with the meat. But we want to give it, you know, the smaller the pieces, the more surface area of garlic to be shared. The essence will be shared among all the ingredients. There you go. Chop, chop, chop. Done, done, done. Okay, and I should say I washed my hands before I started. You should always wash your hands. In any restaurant, I came up in the restaurant industry, either front of the house or back of the house, you will be fired if you do not follow the health code and wash your hands every single time you leave the kitchen. Okay. This is a hand of ginger minus 4 fingers. So usually there's a whole hand of these little bulbs on here, but you can go to your Asian market and pick out a piece of ginger of any type. I'm gonna break off a nub, a finger, just like that. So this ginger, beautiful thing, don't put it in a bag in your refrigerator. It'll mold and get damp and contain that moisture. It dries out on the counter. You just keep it on the counter, and then any exposed area where I broke this will seal itself. It's self-sealing. So this piece of ginger will be good to use like for a good week or so. All right, so I'm gonna take that, put that to the side. I'm just gonna use half of this finger, and I'm gonna take and rough chop it first, the big piece off that I need to get off. And then I'm gonna take my handy dandy spoon and just scrape. Okay, scrape, scrape, scrape. All right. And it just scrapes that skin right off. Okay, good. Okay. Again, carefully scrape my cutting board. I'm gonna slice this up first before I mince it. So sometimes ginger has a grain, so you can tell when you cut it a certain way it's more difficult. So I'm going to cut it against the grain sometimes and with the grain sometimes. Chop, 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 same thing. And this is ginger is one of those beautiful things that has a lot of juice in it. It's not oil like garlic. It's more like watery juice. You can actually take this ginger and use it in a garlic press instead of chopping. Lots of ways to use ginger. I make tea just from raw ginger. Get right into the pan. Boom. Okay. Now, do I know what I forgot? My most important ingredient, oatmeal. Okay, here we go. Okay. Okay. Last but not least, the most important ingredient when you're making a meat product, a lot of people will use breadcrumbs of all different kinds. What's the other? Panko, which is another kind of crumb. Moistened bread, rice for stuffed peppers. I like to do this. I like to take a little bit of oatmeal. Just I'm gonna eyeball it this time, like a good couple handfuls. That's probably like a half cup or 1/3 of a cup. Okay, and what it'll expand, and what it does is it actually it tenderizes your meat, the meat product that's in your filling. It gentles it. It makes it more gentle, especially if you're using just straight beef or a rougher kind of beef or meat protein. You just want it to be gentle in that dumpling, so it's not like, you don't have to keep chewing on it for a long time. So there you go. And then we're gonna put some sauces in. Little tiny squirt of sriracha, nothing crazy. A little bit of soy sauce. And I forgot my other magic ingredient, sesame oil. And sesame oil. The thing with sesame oil is this is the stuff that just makes everything for me have that really Asian quality. So I just put a little circle. So what I probably put was like 2 tablespoons of sesame oil, probably 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, and just a little squirt of sriracha. If you want it hotter, that's fine. You're gonna take your fingers and mix this, okay? Making good time, excellent time here. So we're gonna take our fingers and mix that up. Now, if you wanted to, you could add scallions or an onion to this to give it that little bit of onion crunch, that little bit of funkiness. For me, the garlic and the ginger is enough. Okay. Well, you'll see where the onion play comes into later. Okay, good. So that's nice and mixed. Nice little mix of meat there. Okay. I'm gonna wash my hand real quick. You go to the next step.
If you didn't have onions, could you use onion powder?
Yes, absolutely. I want to introduce you guys. That is the voice of Patrick. He is my facilitator, the technology person. He's helping me to run the cameras. He helps me to do the video editing. He's my right hand guy. Okay, here we go. Now we're getting ready to stuff them. So what we need is our wrappers. Here's our wrappers. These are called Shanghai dumpling wrappers. I'm not sure that camera, oh, there it is. You can see it now. You can buy these in the frozen section at your Asian market. These are pre-made dumpling wrappers. You can buy dumpling wrappers in all thicknesses, sizes, shapes for all different things. If you want to make egg rolls or shumai or wonton or mandu, or even like flatos, like Mexican food, you can use the same thing. These can be made by hand too. I am not the best at making pasta dough or dumpling wrappers. I've tried, I'm just not practiced enough. But we'll keep trying. Maybe I'll figure it out and do a tutorial on what I have difficulty with. Okay, so you're gonna take an egg, another egg, and you're gonna just crack your egg open into a little bowl like this. This is gonna be your binder. You can also use water, but I like egg, okay? So I'm gonna take a little bit of the meat filling, and don't overstuff this, okay? I'm gonna take the egg yolk, I'm gonna put my finger right in there, right around the edge. Simple forms. I'm gonna do enough for 1 bowl of food. Stick it together just like that. Just like that. And there you go. First shape number 1. Half moon. Good. On my tray. This is my tray. When I do this with teenagers, trying to figure out where the glare isn't. There you go. I'm going to work on that lighting, folks. Bear with me. This is the first time for y'all. When I do this with teenagers, this goes by really fast and it's fun for them. They just really enjoy this process because they want to eat. Teenagers want to eat. So they want to eat fast. So they hurry up and get it done. When you have 10 sets of hands, it goes by much faster. So we're going to do that again. This is a new shape. Do the crescent first. Okay. Try to knock out as much air as you can. We're going to put another bit of egg right there on the outside, and we're going to crinkle this. One, like a pleat. Just going to go fold it over on its edge. Okay. Then you get the little pleat. Okay. See that? Good. Now, I'm going to do 2 more fancy ones, and then I'm going to knock out just a bunch so we can make the soup. You can get as fancy as you want with these. It all depends on your purpose and your time. Here, this is a fun one. Okay, so you're going to do the half moon again. Trying to get this so you guys can see real quick. Okay, good. And then I'm going to put a little bit of egg right on the tip. And I'm going to fold this over. So you get this little sort of, it looks like Italian to me.
It's like a rose.
Yes, it's a little tiny pocket. It's beautiful. And the last one is I call it the Paul Revere. But you can call it whatever you want. It's
Revere.
because of the 3-pointed hat. So you go all the way around. Do I have that right? Is he the one that had the 3-pointed hat?
Yeah, that was pretty popular back then.
Yeah. Okay, so you put egg all the way around the outside. You put your hands underneath. Let's see if I can pull this back. I'm trying for you guys to see it best. And you're going to kind of just squeeze it together so you get make 3 points. Squeeze those top. There you go. Boom and boom. Just like that. It also looks like a helicopter sort of, or a windmill, or anything that has 3 spokes on it. They go out. Looks pretty cool. Okay, now we're just going to knock out a whole bunch real quick so I can get this soup on the road for you. Okay. Now, let's turn this heat back up. You'll hear the background of my hot pot heating up again. It won't take long. I do like the hot pot for making soups because it heats up really fast. You can find those in your Asian markets. They aren't that expensive, believe me. And they're made of thinner metal, so it doesn't take them a long time to heat up. The downfall about the hot pot from the Asian market made out of thinner metal is it doesn't take them long to cool down either. So if you want hot food, you have to make it and eat it right away, or you're going to have to heat it up again. Versus like a, big, thick pot on the oven, on the stove top.
Like a stock pot.
Yeah. This is a little bit more temporary, as it should be. Okay. So once that gets to boiling again, we'll be ready to make the soup. And already 18 minutes has passed. It's crazy how fast time flies when you're on camera. Okay. I wish there was a chat feature on this, then I can answer questions from folks. But since it's broadcast nationally, I think that would be tough.
Oh, I have a question.
Yes.
So you're using beef.
And pork.
And pork. So what's tradition? Is that traditional for Korean Mandu?
Yeah. Yeah, the Korean folks like their beef and their pork. When I was in Korea, I had a lot of beef. Now, they do chicken dishes, but not as much, not in this way. And I saw very little vegetarian food when I was there. You could eat vegetables on the side, but for these kinds of things, I didn't see any vegetables in there. Okay, we're getting there.
So if you were going to make this vegetarian, how would you do it? You said beans?
I would take garbanzo beans and I would chop them up or even process them in a little food processor with a little bit of oil or a little bit of liquids. I would put them in a bowl, chopped up or processed. Then I would mix the exact same ingredients with them, but maybe less oatmeal because they're already dry enough. So I would just use the sauces, the sriracha, the soy, the sesame oil, and a little bit of green onion, garlic, or ginger. And then if you wanted to add a little bit more filler, you could put in chop a vegetable of your choice. A lot of Asian dumplings include mushrooms. I'm not a big fan of mushrooms in dumplings, but I see it a lot. Chives, corn sometimes, things like that. Okay, so here we go. I hear the water boiling, so we're gonna stop here for this dumpling sections because I want to show you what comes next.
Oh, that water's boiling.
Okay, that water is boiling. Oh my goodness. Okay, let me wash my hands just real quickly. Now the same ingredients that we put into, settle down. the same ingredients that we put into our filling, we're going to also add to our soup. So we're going to put a good 1/4 cup of soup between the two of them, so it'll be like 1/8 and 1/8. I just know, because I've been doing this enough, I do 1 or 2 passes of soy sauce. And I know that's enough. And also I can change it. Okay, I'm going to add the sesame oil. Looks like I need more sesame oil. Could you grab the backup up there? There's a second one. And then there's a little tiny bottle in the second shelf. Just a little stroke of sriracha, nothing crazy. Okay. And now while this is heating and the sesame oil is coming, I'm going to show you these lovely things. These lovely things are ramps. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a little bit tiny bit late in the season, not much, by a couple of weeks. It's ramp season. So ramps are wild onion or garlic. I'm not sure where exactly they fall between the two, but they're delicious.
What do they taste like?
Excuse me. It tastes like a cross between garlic and onion. Not onion, chive. If you ever notice the difference, there's the difference between the taste of a chive versus the taste of an onion. A chive is more, to me, more herbaceous, more leafy. It tastes green.
That's what I was gonna say. Green.
Yeah, it tastes green. Whereas like onion tastes like a bulb, like a water membrane, like a different thing. Okay, so this is heating up again. I can hear it, and that's good. So we're going to take some ramps, which are my most delicious favorite thing right now. I'm just going to break it up with my hands and put some on one side because my taste tester, who is Patrick, does not like ramps. Okay, so I'm going to put some ramps in there.
You put the leaves in too?
Yep. You eat every single part of these. I often wrap these. I eat ramps with it. In ramp season, it's ramp everything. I'm going to eat ramp omelets, ramps raw, ramps wrapped around cheese, ramps and meat, ramps by themselves. It's all delicious.
Ramps and ice cream?
No ice cream. No ramps and ice cream, please. All right, so there's my ramps. And I can't pick this up to show you, but I will show you the bowl nicely at the end. Okay, now while that's heating up, very good. We're going to go ahead and drop our dumplings. Trying to find the sweet spot. There it is. There it is. I'm going to drop my dumplings so you can see what it looks like into the pot. Whatever you do, you don't drop these from a foot up. You're going to splash and you'll burn yourself, okay? You're going to slide them in nice and gentle. And I'm going to do the same on both sides. Want equal. It's good to share. Food is the easiest thing to share in my mind. If you knew me, I'm always trying to feed people because I grew up, we didn't grow up poor, but we didn't grow up rich either. We were like sort of lower middle class, and there was layoffs, where my dad worked. There were times where we had to go get county food and county help because there's 4 kids in our family. So, we ate what was put in front of us, okay? So it's just really important for me to share food. If I have extra food, which I always do, I offer it to somebody. So this is one of those things that you can do with your friends when you're in college, when you're just having a small gathering, or with your family. It's very easy to do. Okay, so, and I'll teach you about traditional hot pot later, like when we add different elements. So we're gonna let this boil for a few minutes. It takes about, I'd say, once the boiling starts, probably 5 to 7 minutes. The dumpling will shrink up like a little brain, and I'll show you that too. And you'll know when they're done. But if you have any doubt, you can always take one out and just cut it on the plate. But with the amount of meat in there, they'll cook in no time. And sometimes they float to the surface too. That helps. I will be able to show you this because I'm going to do something that's really cool. I'm going to actually, this hot pot, when these are done, actually separates from the burner, and I'm going to put it onto here, and I'm going to move my screen down to you so you can see it correctly, rather than me try to wave things into the air. So the problem with our lighting is just this overhead light, so that's good. It was that way before. All right, so while that's cooking, let me continue making some dumplings and talk to you guys a little bit. I hope that you're picking up some of this. So I'm Asian, I'm from Korea. I was born in South Korea, okay? The reason that have explored Asian cooking, especially Korean cooking, is because I grew up in Western Pennsylvania. I came over when I was 10 months old. My family's Irish, English, Welsh, and they're wonderful, wonderful people. But I grew up eating dairy, milk, lots of that kind of thing. And I always had a stomachache growing up. And nobody really knew back then, back in the olden days, what lactose intolerance was or sensitivity, all of that. So it's nobody's fault. I can drink milk, I can eat cheese, I certainly like it, but I can't do it in excess because then I'll have a stomachache. I grew up with a stomachache. I know that feeling. I know where every bathroom is in my county where I grew up. So now I've explored my Asian cooking, and when I was on the exchange program while in college to South Korea, I was able to try foods from Korean food. And I tell you what, folks, that is the food for me. Like eating Asian food and rice and those types of things, it makes my body feel good. And there's a study that I would like to learn more about myself about eating from your genetic makeup. So if you know where you're from, try to experiment and see if you can find, oh good, they're boiling. Try to see if you can find foods like, for example, if you're Irish, see what they cook in Ireland. You know, if you're from Africa, see what they cook from Africa. You know, try it. See if it works for you. All right? Now, all right, here we go. All right, we're gonna check this out. This is a very simple broth that I made. I use this kind of broth for soups and noodles, but there's no reason why you couldn't do a vegetarian broth with vegetable stock, or make your own stock from Thanksgiving. Use turkey. Some people like to do miso broth, but you can see these are starting to wrinkle up, but they're not quite there yet. Maybe another minute or two, okay? You'll see what I'm talking about whenever I show you up at the end. Just another minute or two, okay? Now, you can eat beef. If it's good quality beef, you can eat it medium, not completely well done. But I don't find that enjoyable in a dumpling. I know that sounds weird. In a burger, yes, I will eat my burger red meat medium or rare sometimes, or steak rare. But for dumplings, I like it cooked. Up to you. You can even, I suppose, make, doesn't this make sense, Patrick? You could make, put fish in a dumpling. I've never tried that. What about like salmon, smoked salmon, or?
Maybe something that's already cooked.
Yeah.
So that you don't have to worry about getting it up to the actual temp that's safe.
It's really important to be food safety. For red meat, it's 160 degrees, I believe. For fish, it's less. Chicken, it's in the middle.
165.
Yeah. So
all those temperatures are available online.
Yes, they're all available online. And if you take the food safety course, which I've taken many times, the Safe Serve for Allegheny County, or wherever your location is, you won't get anybody sick. You won't ever be accused of getting anybody sick. Just very, very safe ways to practice your craft, but also protect yourself against
foodborne illness.
Yeah, foodborne illness. So I'm a ceramic artist, guys. I'm a potter. So here's a really fun thing that I've learned about and that I'm trying to eventually help more. But there's potters against for clean water. There's lots of potters that make big pots, and they use science, a chemical. I think it's silver something. I can't remember what it's called. But anyways, they line the ceramic pots with this substance, and they can actually clean dirty water. Countries that have large child mortality from waterborne illness has been helped by the potters who make the pots that clean the water. Same idea, but not with heat, the purification. But the purification is done with chemicals. Okay, so here we go. Let me wash my hands one more time because these are about ready.
You're at 32 minutes.
Okay, 32 minutes. Cool. My phone is blinking for some reason, so I'm just going to check it just in case I'm having a problem. Okay, nope, that's good. We're good. No problems with the live. I was very nervous about going live with you all, not for the cooking content, but for the actual technical aspect of it, because it's different than what I'm used to doing. That's all. Okay. There we go. All right, we're gonna cut one open just to make sure. So I'm gonna take this bowl, this big bowl. I'm just gonna cut it with my knife. Left-handed, no less. This is wild. Okay, good. Oh, it's done. Oh, we're done. We're so ready.
How do you know it's done?
Because I can see it. Wait, hold on.
Show me how.
I can't show you with this camera. Here, hold on. Let's be creative.
Is it because of the color?
Yes.
Is that how you know?
Yes.
Can you take a temperature and know?
You could, but I'm not going to right now. You could take this temperature, but I'm not going to. Do you want to take the temperature?
I was just curious.
You could take a temperature. I guarantee you it's going to be done. But I can tell because of the color. Okay. So here. Later. All right. Let's turn our broth down. We don't want to, like, when you're using a hot pot, you don't want to just have it high and rolling all the time. There's a term called simmer, where it's like little tiny bubbles. Because you do a high and rolling boil all the time, you're going to lose your broth. It's going to evaporate. That's a science term. It's where like all the moisture leaves and everything goes and turns to steam and then vapor and then it's gone. Okay, and then you're left with just seasonings in the bottom of a pan. So you don't want to do that. So here we go. I'm going to show you guys what these look like. We'll do my side. We'll do Patrick's side first so he can taste test it. We'll let some cool down for him too. Nobody wants a hot, don't burn your mouth. We're gonna put a couple in here. All right. Then I'm gonna show a little bit of broth, just a little bit of broth. And I'm gonna bring it to you. I'm also gonna bring this whole pot over in a minute. Can you see that, Patrick? Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm going to show you guys a couple things. Well, this is perfect timing. Just perfect timing. We're doing very well. Okay. All right. So, get this whole pot over. Show the company here. All right, here we go. And if you haven't subscribed or registered, or you know people who haven't, obviously you have because you're watching the show. But please tell your friends. Because this is going to be super fun. We're not just going to be doing Asian food. We will be doing a lot of Asian food. Don't get me wrong. But I also do Italian, Mexican, whatever I'm interested in. Okay, so if you can see this is the hot pot. You can see how beautiful these are. Now let me show you the up close picture. I'm over here. Okay, can you see in there? You see how they're like a little bit wrinkled? You can see they're wrinkled up around the meat. And it becomes like puckery looking. That's when you can tell they're done, okay? I'm going to show you the etiquette, a little bit of etiquette. You can, obviously this is a ladle, and this is essential for getting things, liquidy things out of your hot pot. You can also use a pair of tongs. When we do a hot pot meal, I will have all the different kinds of tongs for you to see how those work. But this, for a simple Mandu soup, these are Mandus. You can also prepare these fried or steamed, but today I'm showing you as soup. It's called Mandu gook. Mandu gook. It's either G-U-K or without the K. I've heard it both ways. So you can use chopsticks to eat this, but it's very slippery. If you use chopsticks on these babes, it's going to be really slippery. It can come right out of your chopsticks. You see I'm already having difficulty. So what I like to use to eat dumplings is the big spoons. This is a Chinese soup spoon with a big shallow boat. And that's really lovely because you can either cut your dumpling in half with it. No, not very easy to cut them in half. But actually you can just pick them up with the Chinese spoon like so. And just nibble at them until they get small enough to put in your whole mouth. But you can also use this spoon for the broth. This is a nice a broth eater. This is my new favorite spoon. Is this guy. I got it online. So if you go to like online, Amazon or whatnot, there's all these really cool Asian spoons. And this is my absolute fave because it holds a lot. It has a nice round bowl. It's got like a nice angle to it, so it's not like, you know.
Looks like a ladle.
Yeah, it's like a ladle, but it's like not, it's just gentle enough of an angle that you can eat comfortably with it. So I can pick one of these bad boys up right in that whole spoon like that. And just nibble at it until it gets small enough for me to eat the whole thing. And then I can drink broth with it too, just like so. Now Korean people eat with spoons and chopsticks together. So you'll see when I do the noodle demonstration how to do that. But you can use your chopsticks to eat your veg, to eat your wraps, you know, in your soup. Okay, well, Mr. Patrick, would you like to come over here and let me just cut one up? Actually, let's give you the one that we cut up already with a little teeny bit of broth. You can just give us a little taste test and tell us what you think this tastes like. And come right over here.
Looks really hot.
No. This is the one we cut up earlier, so it shouldn't be too hot. You see if it's too hot for you to blow on it.
No, you're right. It's fine.
Yep, there you go. You haven't hit the meat yet. There you go.
Mmm.
How do you feel about that?
That's delicious.
Yeah?
Yeah. It's a little bit of salt, not too much salt. Really chewy with the wrapper.
Nice.
And the meat's still nice and delicate too.
Do you think the wrappers is cooked enough? Do you think it needs more?
A little bit longer, I think.
Yeah.
But
I think
that sits, it'll probably cook.
I think that the wrappers, we could have let it boil for another minute. Just saying. You know, folks, I know.
Totally eatable though.
Yeah, totally. Edible.
That's
Great.
edible.
Yeah, edible. Good. So this is the hot pot Korean Mandu lesson. And it just so happens that this is Happy Asian American Pacific Islander Week.
Month.
Yeah, month. So it's really cool that we're able to share this kind of thing. As far as I'm concerned. Or did you unplug that?
I did. I was afraid it was going to burn.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay. I'll turn it on later because I'm going to cook the rest of them. Anyways, I just think it's just really fun to honor, just like, you know, Black History Month, Women's History Month. It's pretty cool that there's actually a month for the Asian population. I think that's really cool. Everybody has made a contribution to our world, so I think it's good to honor everybody, and that's just fine. That's just great. So I just, you know, that's my little plug for that.
So what about this other sauce that you didn't use over here?
Oh, the vinegar! I forgot about the vinegar.
Yeah.
Oh,
What's that?
This is the bomb diggity, folks. Okay, this is the stuff that makes it even better. This is Chinese black vinegar. Anytime that you go to a Chinese restaurant, you'll have a black sauce with it. That's usually made 50% Chinese black vinegar, 50% soy sauce, or maybe even 2/3 soy sauce and 1/3 vinegar, because this is very strong. The vinegar is very strong.
Take your breath away.
It'll take your breath away. It's that strong, but it is so delicious and it's good for you. So they'll sprinkle a little bit of very finely julienned ginger strips usually, and put it in there. When we do a soup dumpling lesson, we'll have this sauce too. What I usually like to do is to mix a little bit of the Chinese vinegar right into my soup whenever I serve it. I just put a little drop. You don't need too much, and it just takes it to a whole other level. That vinegar foundation, I don't know, it just elevates.
What's this red stuff in the jar?
Yeah, so this is the other thing. This is such good questions, Patrick, because we are wrapping things up now. This is kimchi, Korean national dish, okay? Kimchi is the most wonderful thing in the world. It's fermented cabbage and vegetables. This one does not have fish sauce in it, but it can have, I know how to make that too, so we can always do a lesson on that. It's just really good for gut health. Again, it has the vinegar, it has a little bit of vinegar and sugars. Really, it's not too complicated. It's a very natural process. And it's fermented, so it sort of breaks down a little bit, changes the flavor a little bit, and then you put it in your refrigerator. It lasts a good long time, depending on how you like it. Some Korean folks have, and it's definitely smells, it's a strong smell, not everybody likes that. So in Korea, I noticed that Korean people have like a separate refrigerator for their kimchi. And there's a whole museum in Korea on different types of kimchi. There's like, I don't know, hundreds of different kinds of kimchi. I had stuff that was called water kimchi, which is a cool kimchi. I've had like a sweeter kimchi. I've had fishy kimchis. You know, there's a ton, and I've had it with
5:43.
5:43, 2 minutes. Thank you. So I've had it with a bunch of different things. So, trying to think if I forgot anything. So we're good.
Is it expensive? Was this meal expensive?
Nope. At the grocery store. Here's what I spent at the grocery store. It was $10. It was about $40 for all this stuff.
How many meals could you get out of that?
And you can make a lot. You know, when we make these dumplings right here, what I often do, especially if I'm doing a catering or a party, I'll fill up a couple trays like this, and then I'll put it in the freezer, do a shock freeze just so it holds its shape, and then I'll divide it up into little double bags, Ziploc bags. Even if they say freezer tight, I always double it up. So and then I store these right in the freezer in like with 10 per bag. So that's a nice meal right there for 1 or 2 people. With soup, it's great. So yeah, you can make probably, with one, there's 40 wrappers in a container. You can make at least 3 meals. So this can go a long way. It depends on how hungry you are. Well, my time is up, folks. I want to say thank you. And I appreciate you spending this last 45 minutes with me. And I can't wait to show you the next class.
Yay!